Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Janina Gutierrez Tan. I'm a registered chemist, a doctorate in analytical chemistry, and a certified hair loss practitioner by the U.S. Trichology Institute. Today, I will talk to you about hair growth and hair regeneration. However, before we do that, I want to spend a few minutes talking about hair anatomy or hair 101 so that you will understand hair growth. First of all, each hair grows from the hair follicles. The hair follicle is a pore-like structure below the skin. This is where hair grows. The hair follicle is the living part of the hair and it is right under the base of the skin, while the hair shaft is the one that you see outside your scalp. There are three things that I want you to remember about hair anatomy. First, the hair shaft is produced by proliferating cells in the hair bulb. Second, the bulge stem cells drives the cycle of the growth. And third, the hair follicle receives nutrition from the blood. Now, let us look closely at the hair growth cycle. Hair grows in a cycle with 4 phases. The first phase is called anagen, which lasts about 8 to 10 years. In this phase, the hair is growing. And then, the next phase is catagen. This is the transition from anagen to telogen. And third is the telogen phase or the resting phase. So, in this case, the dermapapilla detaches and the hair is resting. It's not yet falling, but it's already resting. In the exogen phase or the final phase, the hair sheds. The thing to remember is that at any given time, the ratio of growing to falling phase should be about 12:1. And if this ratio decreases, meaning if more hair is falling compared to growing, then that results into hair thinning or hair loss. Now, the question I'm sure you are asking is, what causes this ratio to change? Or what causes hair thinning or hair loss? So, there are many causes. The most common is called androgenetic alopecia or male or female pattern baldness. The word androgenetics comes from androgen, which means hormone, and genetics, which means hereditary. Simply put, androgenetic alopecia or male-female pattern baldness is a predisposed sensitivity to DHT. Now, what is DHT? DHT is produced from the conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone or DHT by an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. And once DHT is produced, it clings or attaches itself to androgen receptors in the hair follicles. Now, this leads to hair loss, and oftentimes the hair follicle becomes miniaturized. When the hair follicle is miniaturized, it eventually dies and no hair will grow already in that specific follicle. You might be asking, why is there androgenetic alopecia for female? Do they have testosterone? Yes. For females though, studies show that aging changes testosterone levels and hormone levels in females. This is the case especially during menopause. Females, as you know, experience a lot of hormonal changes and this triggers the onset of female pattern baldness. There's also such a thing called as alopecia areata. This is an autoimmune disease. There is a sudden loss of hair, often patches of hair at the back of the nape or at the back of the ear. In this case, alopecia areata appears first when a person is stressed or when the immune system is low. Usually because of lack of sleep or nutrition, especially during the pandemic, we saw a lot of cases of alopecia areata. Another type of alopecia is what we call cicatricial or scarring alopecia. Now, this alopecia is due to permanent damage on the hair follicles. Usually, when there are inflammatory damages on the scalp, for example, when a person experiences chemical burns or insect bites or wounds that causes scarring, then these often damage the hair follicles and usually are permanent. There's also one type of alopecia called traction alopecia. Now, this is called by mechanical damage caused by the constant pulling of and tugging of hair. So, usually this happens with tight braids, tight hairdos, a high ponytail. So, we want to avoid these tight hairdos as much as possible because they can damage the hair follicles. Although, alopecia or traction alopecia is reversible with the use of nourishing hair serums like HairReve. Trichotillomania is an impulse disorder characterized by the compulsive urge to pull out one's hair. This causes a noticeable hair loss and baldness. Usually, this causes a distress and social or functional impairment. If the patient is not able to pull the hair, he or she feels stressed, there is that need to pull the hair, and oftentimes this causes hair thinning. This may be reversed by seeing a psychiatrist and taking the necessary medications for trichotillomania. Other factors includes diseases. So there are a number of diseases which can cause hair thinning or hair loss. Remember that when the body experiences trauma, the body has its way of reaction, and oftentimes the hair and the skin are the first to shut down. Anemia, lupus, COVID, they all can cause excessive hair fall and hair thinning. Thyroid disorders, because of the changes in hormones, can also cause a change in the hair growth cycle and affect hair growth. Medication may also cause excessive hair fall or hair thinning. So antibiotics, some psychotic drugs, some antidepressant drugs, and the most commonly known chemotherapy drugs. So as you know, chemotherapy drugs work by killing the cancer cells. Unfortunately, it's not able to discriminate between cancer cells and real cells. So hair or cells in the hair follicle are also killed during chemotherapy, and that's why a lot of people experience shedding during chemotherapy. But don't worry, because after the chemotherapy, hair can still grow, especially with the aid of natural hair serums or HairReve. Stress and anxiety can also cause hair thinning and hair loss. Remember that when we are stressed, our muscles are often constricting and blood flow within the scalp is very limited. The hair follicles do not receive enough nutrition, so that the hair growth and the hair cycle is compromised. Lifestyle has a very big impact on hair growth and hair thickness. We need to have nutrition because our hair also needs the vitamin C and the minerals for growth. Smoking has also been known to affect the hair growth cycle. Of course, lack of sleep can aggravate stress and anxiety, and so we do need a lot of sleep, and we need exercise, and we need to distress from time to time. There are a lot of treatments that are available for these causes of hair loss, or for hair loss and hair thinning in general. So there's transplant, wherein the doctor moves the hair follicles from a donor site, usually from the back of the head, to a recipient site, typically to the balding or the thinning area. The pros is that these are often long-term and permanent, and it looks natural. However, it's costly and it's not for everyone. So there are risks of scarring and risks of hair loss. This can only replace one spot, and of course, it's not 100% guaranteed. There are new methods available, such as microneedling, where you have 100 of sterile needles puncturing the outermost layer of the skin, hoping to stimulate hair growth. And then there's also PRP, or platelet-rich plasma, being injected into parts of the scalp without the hair. Minoxidil has been the gold standard for treatment of hair loss. It is a drug though, and it may have side effects. A lot of people are allergic to it, so that is something to consider also. Scalp treatments, there are a lot of scalp treatments available. I urge you to be very discriminating when it comes to checking out the ingredients and checking if the products are indeed FDA registered. So this is very easy. You can just go to the FDA portal and go to the product verification portal. You can search the product and easily find out if indeed the products that you are going to buy or considering to use are FDA registered. Of course, there are serums with natural active ingredients like HairReve, which are made with green tea extracts, large trees, zinc, and coffee. And the pros is that it may be applied at home very easily. It's relatively cost-effective. There's minimal side effect or no side effect at all, and it actually provides nutrition to the hair follicles. The con, well, it takes time. But then every treatment takes time, so I don't know if you will count that as a disadvantage. Vitamins are also helpful, especially if you or if a person does not receive enough nutrition. Then biotin, collagen, vitamin D, vitamin E, and saw palmetto might help also with hair growth. Finasteride is also an option. However, finasteride is a drug effective for male pattern hair loss, but also has its side effects on the biological functions of men. There are low-level laser lights which are uso now. These utilizes low-level lasers or light-emitting diodes to deliver red light or infrared light to the scalp. Well, the advantage is that these are non-invasive and there are no chemicals involved. However, these are quite expensive and also take about at least 24 weeks or more to take significant effect if they work for you. Scalp cleansers are very useful because they remove excess sebum, which may clog follicles and cause hair hair follicles to miniaturize. So again, if there's too much sebum buildup on your scalp, then the serums that you use will not work anyway and will not be able to penetrate the follicles. Now, which is the best treatment for a person? I cannot answer this with one best treatment, although of course I recommend the HairReve Hair Natural Serum because it's natural and because it's easy to use. But realistically though, somebody who has hair thinning problems should identify the underlying cause of the hair thinning. Next, he or she should consider the lifestyle and see any possible sources of the excessive hair fall. So, puyat ba lagi bang stress, kulang ba ng vitamin C, meron bang medical problems, meron bang sakit, meron bang anemia. All these have to be considered, and then you can choose the right treatment for you. So for example, a patient has anemia and is experiencing severe loss. Then the treatment will be a combination of iron, vitamin supplements, and the right diet to solve the anemic problem, and then a serum which can nourish the hair follicles like HairReve. Another example, if a person has male pattern baldness, then his treatment will depend also on his lifestyle. So he can choose between a transplant, minoxidil, or the serum, or combine all if he has the means and if he wants to try all these, including invasive treatments. If a person is very stressed and anxious and experiencing excessive hair fall, then this is very easy to solve. A natural serum will work. Just spraying HairReve twice a day will work, and of course, distressing to relax a bit at a time. Then this will help with the excessive hair fall. Okay, what are the best hair care practices to avoid excessive hair fall? First of all, avoid tight hairstyles or hairdos. Ayaw natin yung nababanat para walang mechanical damage sa follicles. Second, do not wash your hair with hot water because the hot water can also cause damage on your hair follicles. Avoid chemical treatments like bleaching, rebonding, which may harm the follicles. Avoid high temperature on the scalp. So the heating or the styling agents, which uses heat, can be used from time to time but not on a daily basis, not direct on the scalp because it can damage your scalp and causes hair thinning. Now, I also strongly suggest to use sulfate-free and mild shampoo, especially those who have sensitive scalp, because the sulfate in shampoo might be too harsh and might dry out your scalp, and this might also lead to an increased irritation of the scalp and eventually to hair loss or hair thinning. We also recommend avoiding brushing hair when wet because hair is most brittle when it's wet. And of course, we recommend eating a balanced diet and exercising because again, a protein-rich and vegetable-rich diet is best for the hair to become healthy. Drinking a lot of water will also help maintain our beautiful hair. The most important thing that I want you to remember is that with hair growth and hair thickening, there is no magic. So, walang magic sa treatment. The hair grows in a cycle, and once the hair, for example, is already in the falling stage, then no matter what product you use, it will fall. The most important thing is that it will go back again to the anagen phase and new hair will start growing. So, don't worry when you try a new product and it's been a week or two and it's not yet working because it will take time. Science tells you that all treatments for the hair will need time and effort. Remember, when taking care of your hair, everything is also connected. So a healthy lifestyle leads to healthy hair. Drink a lot of water, eat a well-balanced diet, get enough sleep, distress from time to time so that your whole body is healthy, and this will reflect on your hair's health as well. This is Dr. Janina Gutierrez. I hope you learned a lot from this talk. Till next time, I'll see you again.